What up, though? It's your boy Nesto, always coming with that best flow. Might not see me around because I'm always getting dough, chasing mo. You dig? Welcome back to Landing on Mars, ladies and gentlemen. Hope everybody out there's having a beautiful week, and we are officially at Friday. And like I tell everybody that complains about Monday, I always tell them that you have to go through Monday to get to Friday and to get to that weekend. And, you know, a lot of us put in 40 hours, some people put in 50 hours, a week. And I really sit back and I think about it. It's like I find working a legitimate job, working from 9 to 5, working at a job where you got to clock in, working at a job in general, I find it to be one of the hardest things to do at this particular point in time. And the reason why I say that is because ultimately, when you go to work, you're clocking in to be someone that you're really not. You know what I mean? Like, what I mean by that is like, you have to respect customers that can be disrespectful at times. You gotta talk with the proper grammar that you might not use all the time. And that doesn't take anything away from who you are. That just shows that you are responsible enough to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to swallow my pride and I'm going to go hustle. And I had a couple people that I knew that used to live not legit, the opposite of legit. And, I've been around that for a very long time since I was younger and whatnot. But I'm glad that I'm at the point where I was able to like get away from all that and not let that define who I am. And at this particular point in time for me, I'm not really about taking chances. Like, I work multiple jobs and I love what I do because of the simple fact that everything I'm doing is to better myself. Everything I'm doing is to better my wife. It's to better my daughter. It's all about my family. And that is one of the most important things in my opinion. And having to go clock in, having to go put on a face that not I don't necessarily want to put on, but like I said, man, like when people are sarcastic, you want to give that honest response, but a lot of times you just kind of keep it to yourself, or you just kind of mumble it under your breath. You know what I mean? And that, like I said, that doesn't take anything away from who you are. That doesn't take anything away from the person you are. That just shows that, you know what, your life and your family and what you got going on in life is more important than being disrespectful to somebody and just saying like F it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times you want to say F it. And there's some times where people can say like, you know what, F this. I'm going to just give my opinion. I'm going to just give my opinion and just say F you. And like I said, man, I respect anybody that's out here hustling. And like when I was young, man, seeing it, because I remember living in Vitamende projects, and I remember the dope boys, the dope dealers were always the one with the flashy cars. Back in the day, it was Mitsubishi Eclipse Spiders. And if you know what a Mitsubishi Eclipse Spider is, that was the era that I'm talking about. Like, I'm pretty sure in New York and other places, maybe even in Cali, they had different, like, in my opinion, every kind of state had their own different old schools that they would pull up in. You know what I mean? Like I said, New York had the Bentleys, the BMWs, and not saying that what they had in SA wasn't very flashy, because it was. But this is what I saw where I was at. And like I said, man, I used to see the dope boys, the dope dealers outside all the time, man. And you know what? I even knew a couple of them. Like back in the day when I was living in Vitamende projects, they would use my bike to go. Like, they'd be like, hey, can I use your bike? Cool. And I'm like, all right, cool, here's my bike. And I remember I had a buddy that told me like, hey man, if they don't return it, I'll get you another bike. Don't worry about it. But sure enough, I always got my bike returned. And I remember, like, me being young, I didn't know what I was doing, but I would go drop things off that I didn't know. They'd be like, hey, go drop this off over here. And I'm like, all right, cool. I was really young at the time. And that's the environment that I was in. And I always tell myself, like, man, like, if I would have just paid attention to it, if I would have just paid attention to it, if I would have just really got my foot in there, I probably could have been like maybe a big person in that world. But I was more of a user. So ultimately, when you're a user, the selling doesn't really go your way when it comes to things of that nature. And that's just my experience. And a lot of people around me will sit there and tell you that as well. But when I really sit back and think about it, man, like I'm at the age and I'm at the point in life where I can't go away for 5 years. I can't go away for 10 years. I can't go away for 20 years. So ultimately, what it all comes down to is that I can't risk anything at this particular point. Like there is a lot of things that I need to do for not only myself, but like I said, my family. And yes, I wake up sometimes, like I said, I start my day off real early, but me going and clocking in and me going and being a person that not necessarily that I don't want to be, but being the work person. People always freak out when they see you outside of work and they're like, you have a drink in your hand or you have a cigarette in your hand, and they're like, oh man, what the hell? And it's just like, man, we do have lives outside of work, and it's at this particular point in time, it's a blessing to say, hey, I'm gonna go to work, I'm gonna go live life, and I'm gonna take it to the extreme of that, because you have so many cop outs, and like we live in the microwave era where anything that anybody's doing, they just want to get they want to get they want to get praised for anything they do. They take out the trash, they want to get paid for that, they want to get praised for that. And like I said, there is a social media way of getting paid, and if you could do it, I say do it. You know what I mean? Anything that you could do legitimately, I say do it. Like I said, man, I can't really play the fence. I can't really keep one foot in and keep one foot out. It's just at the point, like I'm at the point where I have to provide for my family, and I continue to say that. But like I said, man, like anybody out there that wakes up in the morning to go clock in, I salute you. Anybody that, even if you work the overnights, no matter what you're doing, man, like I salute that, because this is not easy. And like I said, it's not easy because people try you. People try you in ways that it's not in your face, like, hey, let's fight. No, it's not like that. It's the rudeness, it's the sassiness, it's the disrespect. And when you're working for an employee, when you're working for a company and you're an employee, customers think that the customer is always right. I come from the era where the customer is always right. Well, now it's not necessarily like that anymore. Customers can be wrong, but that's the era I come from, that customers are always right. So like I said, man, when you clock in, you're not clocking in and you're not necessarily being yourself. And for anybody that could clock in and just do their job, get there, stay out of the BS, and go home, man, you know what? I salute you, because ultimately you're focused on just providing. You're focused on being who you need to be for yourself. And that's cool. Like I said, I've been at the company that I've been there for a while. And I feel from my personal experience, like I'm going on 18 years being at the company I'm at. And now versus it, like now it's like more of a personal goal. Like, I want to hit 20 years. Like, I don't really see myself hitting 20 years anywhere else. And I want to hit 20 years here. But ultimately, I think after you're at an employee or at a company for a certain amount of time, if you're there like 5-10 years, I think once that 10-year mark hits, it's not necessarily that the business wants you there, or you're not doing it necessarily for the business. You're doing it personally for yourself, because ultimately what it comes back to you continuing to move up, you continuing to thrive, you continuing to go forward. Because if you don't have all of that, and if you're at a company for 5 years and you have not got a raise, or if you have not got more responsibility, or you have not got opportunity, then what's the point of even being at that particular spot? And I'm not saying, like a lot of people will say, hey, just be somewhere 2 years and then move on. I said, but in reality, you can. But in reality, it's not as easy as just say, hey, I'm gonna go look for a job here, I'm gonna go look for a job here. If I were to leave right now, which I wouldn't, I literally hit the reset button, and everything, all my history that I have, it just gets wiped out. And yes, it's scary, and yes, it's one of those things like it's scary to think about because it's like, damn, like I've worked for so much, and everything that I've done where I'm at, it's because I really put the time to learn it. I took the time to actually understand it. I took the time to say, hey, I want to be great at this. And like I said, man, like a lot of these rappers, I come from the era where the dope dealer, that was the one that you glorified. That was the one that you looked up to. That's who you wanted to be like. You wanted to be like the dope boy. But now we're in the era that the dope boy is also the dope user, and also like the drug user got more gets more props than what the drug dealer is. And like I said, man, like a lot of this, like a lot of what we go through comes and goes, and ultimately I don't want to be the person sitting in a sit put it be I don't want to be the person in a situation that I'm not going to be able to get out of, and like they say karma is real. Look at Diddy. We're all seeing that now with Diddy. So ultimately, I can honestly sit here and say that, you know what, the company that I've been at, I literally started from the bottom and I've worked to where I'm at. I get the respect, and when I go clock in and when I do what I do, I'm hustling. I'm hustling, and I'm making sure that, you know what, I'm getting things done, because if I'm not getting things done, no one else is gonna do it. And in the world that I'm in the world that I decided to that in the world that I decided to say, hey man, this is where I'm gonna make a career out of. Like the things that I've done, like they had never, like it was things like I turned like a position into a main position, and I pat myself on the back because, like I said, it's one thing to just be an employee, but I feel like I'm an employee that has learned a lot from a legitimate job. I learned how to deal with customers without being rude and without being offensive and without the arguing. You know what I mean? I learned how to be civil in situations that might not seem right. And when you're legit, it's crazy, man, because when you're legit, I feel like you're dealt with more because of the simple fact that you try to do your thing right, but there's people around that kiss ass. There's people around that don't do the work that they're supposed to do, and they still get ahead, and you sit back and you're like, damn, like how, why? But then when in my opinion, when you worry about that too much, now you're putting yourself in that position where you're putting yourself, and you're embedding yourself into somebody's business. And you know what, at the end of the day, man, I just leave it alone, because I know that the more I do, the more they could see, the more they're gonna be like, we need this person. And ultimately everything catches up to people. And that's why I just stay away from it, man. I stay away. I know the devil is real. I know the devil is gonna be out there trying to lure you in. And like I said, man, it could happen like that. You could have that one customer that's just missing with you. You could have that one employee that's missing with you. You could just have that, because ultimately now we live in the world where anything is possible. Anything, the crazier it sounds, the more likely it's true. So like I say, man, the hustling, being legit, hustling is one of the hardest things to do. And I remember, we live in a very, I feel like things have kind of got reversed. Like, you know what I mean? Like I said, we're living the upside down right now. Shout out to Stranger Things. Don't know when season 5's coming out, but shout out to Stranger Things. But real quick, we live in the upside down right now, because just recently, I want to say maybe a couple of months ago, someone that I respect very much came up to me and said, hey, why do you work so much? And I was like, well, yeah, like I want the finer things. And, I was just kind of like clowning, because I was kind of like not clowning, but I was kind of just being sarcastic. Oh yeah, I want the finer things. I want to give my family the finer things. But then they kept on going like, whoa, maybe you should be saving for this. Maybe you should be saving for that. And I'm just like, this person is really going further than just that. And it's like I said, I respect the person, so I'll never go against the person. But to me, it's simple. I'm trying to survive. I'm trying to not be in jail. I'm trying to show my daughter, I'm trying to show my wife that, you know what, we could do this. And if it takes me having to work 3 jobs, which I'm doing at right now, I don't sit and I don't complain about it. I don't get mad about it. Like I said on a song that I just recently wrote, sacrificing time because the bills got to get paid. Never had a silver spoon. I worked 3 jobs so you won't have the same. How am I supposed to give my daughter more than what my parents gave me if I'm only working 1 job? My parents back in the day had 1 job, and I saw them every payday paying loans off. I don't know if they were doing side work. I don't know what they were doing, but all I know is that's what I saw when I was young, and I'm not going to let that repeat. I'm not going to let my daughter see me and see me and her mommy struggle, because there's no point to struggle when there's so much money out there. It's just a matter of you wanting to go get it. When I was back in the day, I would get in trouble for not wanting to work. So now that I do want to work and all I'm doing is working, I'm getting in trouble. I don't get it. But you know what? I don't want to get it, because at the end of the day, when me and my wife and my daughter come home, we come home to each other. We comfort each other. And like I said, I will never disrespect anybody. But just the way I'm not going to disrespect no one, please don't disrespect me. You know, the cards that were dealt for some people are not dealt for other people. And just because we get different cards and different decks, that doesn't mean you spaz out and you get mad at the people and you get angry with people. Like, I'm a person that can have a conversation, and I'm a person that will have a conversation. But I'm also a person that's going to give my opinion, because I'm going to allow you to give your opinion. And when I give my opinion, you don't like it. Now, I don't want anybody to get offended for what I'm saying. Why not have someone that's willing to work and put their family first versus someone that's lazy and not willing to put anybody first? Nice guys finish last. But you know what? At the end of the day, nice guys finish. Pause. Dig that could go back and forth. I'm an idiot. But nice guys finish last, man. And you know, it's always been like that. The nicer you are, the more someone will want to take advantage of you. The nicer and the more respectful you are, people will want to walk all over that. When people ask me for help, if I have to drop what I'm doing right now, then and then, I'll do it. My whole thing is, let me know, give me a heads up, and I could definitely be there for you. And if you can't give me a heads up, then hey, it is what it is. If I have to say no, and one thing about me is that I hate saying no. I hate telling people no, because I like to be a person that people could depend on, because that's who I am. Depend on me. It's like the way they say, you never send a kid to do a man's job, and that's me. You never send someone to do the job that I can do. And I could do a lot of jobs. I could do a lot of things. I picked up a lot of skills, and you know what? The skills that I picked up, it's money. It's money, and ultimately that's what it is. You find knowledge, you take knowledge in, and then you spit the knowledge back out so somebody else can learn that. That's what Landing on Mars is supposed to be about. There's guests that I have. Shout out to Hollywood. Shout out to the homie Curtis. Like, there's people that I want to get on my platform, but it sucks because I juggle 3 jobs, and not even just that, but I have daddy duties, I have husband duties, I have everything that I gotta do, and it's like the time that I have, this is what I do. And I want to take more time. I want to have more time to give y'all more, and I am going to do that. Anybody that supports me, anybody that has watched the channel, I really appreciate y'all. And like I said, man, it's a hustle. Never let anybody bring you down for waking up in the morning and going and getting it. Never let anybody, if your friends are going to party and your friends are going to go have fun and you can't at the time, don't let that get the best of you, because there's going to be a time that you're going to be out there and they're not going to be able to be with you. And it's not about throwing it in their face. It's about you working for what you earned. And then when everything is paid off, or everything, that all your responsibilities are taken care of with what you made, then you go and splurge on yourself. Then you go and have fun for yourself. And I was always taught, pay yourself. The way you pay these bills, make sure you're a payment. Make sure you're a bill, because you're the most important. You're the one that's driving. You're the one that's in control. So always pay yourself. I've been slacking on that a little bit, but you know what? I'm coming back to that. And like I say, the bounce back is always great. Don't when you could recognize that you're at the bottom, that's good, because now all you got to do is go up. You know what I mean? Like, go up. And don't let the nonsense get the best of you. Don't let the negativity get the best of you. Don't let the loud voices get the best of you. Hustle, try to stay as legit as possible. Whatever you got to do to make money, I will never down anybody. Legit, not legit, whatever the situation is, as long as it's helping you and your family and y'all are getting forward, hey, do your thing, man. Just like to be positive, man. I like to be positive about this. And like I said, hopefully everybody's having a wonderful Friday. Real quick, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. There's two topics that I'm not going to really spend too much time on. Just going to kind of give my thoughts. And I really don't know which one to talk about first, because both of them kind of got me stuck. And I'm pretty sure if you're a hip-hop head, you've probably been hearing about this. But real quick, shout out to Kendrick Lamar. He is going to be performing at the 2025 Super Bowl in New Orleans. I think it's a very good choice. I think the reason why people made this more than what it was because I think Lil Wayne there's that interview going around where Lil Wayne said, oh, that's one of his goals. And you know what, I see it. But one, who's to say that they're not going to bring him out? And two, I feel like that should offend Wayne, because Wayne has always been relevant. Wayne is one of my favorite rappers. The Block is Hot, Lights Out, We on Fire, Bling Bling, Guerrilla Warfare, like 500 Degrees. Like, that's the Wayne that I knew. I remember there was this dude, I was having a conversation with him, and he like got offended because he's like, I'm the biggest Wayne fan. And I'm like, okay, what about these albums? And he's like, well, no, I started listening to Wayne at this particular point. And a lot of people started listening to Lil Wayne on the mixtape era, because he had that run where he decided that he wasn't going to write no more, and he just went off the top. So he had the run. The Drought run is crazy. The Dedication run is crazy. No Ceilings run is crazy. All these runs are very crazy. But at the end of the day, that's a piece of Lil Wayne. If you want to, like I said, if you want to know Lil Wayne, go back to that. Go back to The Block is Hot. Go back to Lights Out. Go back to 500 Degrees. Start the Carter 1. Start the Carter 2. Start the Carter 3. But that's albums. And when he first came out, he was on albums. He wasn't on mixtapes. Mixtapes is when mixtapes, he resorted to mixtapes because he went through on the mixtape run, did his feature run, but then when he started dropping Sorry for the Wait, that's because Birdman was holding him back from dropping his album, which was Carter 5. So if it wasn't for Birdman doing what he did, being a bad business person and being a bad dad, because he calls Wayne his son, so pretty much Birdman was being a bad dad, we got a Wayne that we were never even supposed to get. Okay, but let's take it back. Lil Wayne was supposed to sign with Jay-Z. That was way before that. I think that was after Carter. I think it was right before Carter 1. Wayne was supposed to sign with them. So if you think about this. Jay-Z had Rockefeller. None of his albums, Beanie Siegel, Memphis Bleak, Freeway. None of these artists dropped mixtapes. Those artists dropped albums. So we probably would have not got the whole mixtape Wayne, but we would have got a lot more albums from Wayne. Wayne is barely on Carter 6. He's about to drop Carter 6. Carter 5 was held hostage for like over 5 years, maybe even longer. Shout out to Birdman for that. Birdman wants to go and talk about people going against Wayne when he is the biggest Wayne hater. Birdman is the biggest Wayne hater. Birdman does not like paying people. I don't get it when all these people are the ones that put you in the position you're in. So I don't get it. But what I'm saying is I don't think Wayne. I don't think you could take anything away from Wayne on what he has accomplished. You cannot. But I feel like to get Wayne now, it's offensive because he's not as hot as he was back then. Like, he was a lot hotter back then and he was more relevant back then. So why is it so offensive to him now? Beyonce did her thing in New Orleans. It lined up very well with Dre that they were from LA and the Super Bowl was there and they were in California. The Super Bowl was there. So it lined up very well. But it's not something that the Super Bowl says, hey, we're going to have the star of this city be the performer. So shout out to Wayne. I will never take nothing away from Wayne. Wayne is a monster. Wayne deserves everything he gets. Wayne deserves everything. Shout out to Kendrick because Kendrick deserves it as well. I think the way, like they say, this was the salt, this was the cherry on the top, for the battle with Drake. And some will say it is, but even with Drake, we're on that real quick. I think Drake's biggest flaw was that he wasn't prepared. He wasn't mentally prepared for what Kendrick was capable of doing. And I don't think anybody necessarily was, but I think Drake out of everybody was not prepared. And he hit him where it hurts. He hit him where, now whatever Drake is doing is not hitting the way it used to. And now where Drake is at now, it's not as he's always going to be a relevant person, but he's not. He has some work to do to get to that top tier. And yeah, man, like I said, shout out to Drake, man. I haven't been a Drake fan for a very long time, but I've started gravitating away. When the beef was going on, I was listening to all tracks. I know I had a homie, shout out to Tizzle Nizzle. I had a homie, I went to go do a stream with him, and he's Drake, and I'm Kendrick, and it was fun. But like I said, I'm not that I dislike Drake. It's just, I haven't really been following him that much and haven't really been gravitating towards that. But yeah, man, the beef was good. It was very, very good for hip hop. And like I said, shout out to Kendrick for the opportunity to perform at the Super Bowl. Shout out to Lil Wayne. This is going to keep him humble. He's always been a humble person. This is going to keep him humble, and he's going to continue going. I just know it. Shout out to Drake. Drake is Drake, and he's going to continue doing what he's doing. And lastly, man, I'm pretty sure everybody heard about Diddy. Diddy's locked up. Diddy's out. Diddy's locked up. And I don't really know how I feel. Because I used to wear Sean John. I used to listen to P. Diddy, like Puff Daddy and the Family. Like, I literally grew up off of this shit. Like, hip-hop has been a part of me. Hip-hop is what saved me. Hip-hop is what kept me going as a kid, man. Hip-hop was me. Hip-hop is me. I love music. Taylor Swift is one of my favorite artists. Adele is one of my favorite artists. Michael Sargado, Ramon Rayala, like all these. But this music is just music that I love. But hip hop, that's my baby right there. Hip hop, rap, that's my baby right there. 106 in Park, Rap City, The Basement, TRL, them. Y'all do not know about TRL. I feel bad for y'all right now. I feel bad because y'all just get music and it's like boom, 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 boom. It's like one after another. We were able to get albums. We were able to listen to albums. We were able to embrace albums. We were able to embrace the work of these artists. That's why the artists from our generation are still big, and the artists coming out now don't really have much to say. The artists coming out now, their story is very limited. Honestly, I know hopefully my nephew's not mad at me for this, but Travis Scott, I feel like Travis Scott is an industry plant because anything he does, but he's not like his music is not really like popping, in my opinion. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. Like the music back then, we were able, like we had magazines. We were able to open the Double XL. We were able to open up the Source. We were able to open up Murder Dog. We were able to open up Right On. Like all of these magazines embrace the music. Now everything is on internet, and as soon as one story pops, another story pops. Now it's like, okay, do I listen to this? Do I listen to what came out 5 minutes ago, or do I listen to what came out a minute ago? Everything is everywhere. So when I say that, it's like I feel like Diddy did hurt the community, the hip hop community. That's where he hurt, because no matter what he did, no matter what liquor deals he did, no matter what clothing stores he did, no matter how many TV shows he produced, all of that is off of the tree that he built, and the tree that he built, which those branches grew off of, was hip hop. Hip hop is how he got his foot in the door. Music, hip hop, rap. Is the tree to his roots, and it sucks. You know, Tupac said it a long time ago, and it's funny because what Tupac was saying 20 some odd years later was right. Everybody was mad at Mace for what Mace did. But now everybody will pat him on the back and say, you know what, you were right, Mace. Because Mace is right. Mace was right. And Mace will always be right. You know what I mean? Like I said, Mace saw that shit a mile away, man. And every artist that worked with P. Diddy, people from the band, they say that he's not a good person. And ultimately, this is the perfect example of greed. You know, this is greed, too much power, and feeling like you're untouchable. And if you want to take it back to, I believe it was last year, Diddy he was going after the liquor company that he was a part of. De Leon or something like that. That was his liquor company, and he was partners with one of the biggest distributors of liquor. And Diddy tried to file a lawsuit against them, saying that they weren't promoting him because he was using the race card. And they came back saying like, "Hey man, we gave you a budget to promote. You pocketed that budget and started promoting off of your likeness. And when that didn't work, now you're coming on saying that we're being greedy and we're not giving you your money." So ever since that happened, then Keefe D went to jail because of all whatever, and then the sex allegations. So ultimately, that's another definition of you don't bite the hand that feeds you. And nobody was really drinking. Like people at one point people were drinking Ciroc, but he kind of put that to the side, and he had that De Leon, or he had that going on. But ultimately, Diddy just barked up the wrong tree, and he fucked himself. And like I said, it's not necessarily one of them things like, it's not like it's because of hip hop, but like I said, him who he is comes from hip hop. He would have never been in clothing if he never was in hip hop. He would have never had liquor if he wasn't in hip hop. If he was in a music producer, and the music that he produced was hip hop. So that's what I say, man. Like I'm a little hurt, and I'm still like, damn, there's some songs I want to jam. There's even I was even asking my brother the other day, like, can I jam an R. Kelly song? Like, I want to, cause I wish. If you know, I wish, man. Like, I wish is a dope ass song. It's like I want to, but can I? It's like I know I can, cause I have the power to turn it on and turn it off myself. But it just don't feel right. Just don't feel right. Like, and royalties, because it's not even about them. It's more about the royalties. If they're signed to the song, and if they're writers on the song, and if they're producers on the song, they get that money regardless. So it's like it's one of those things. Like, you hear a song, like now when I hear music on TV, it's like I don't even think about the music. I'm thinking like, damn, who's gonna get paid? The artist or the producer, or the one that composed it? Who's gonna get paid? And they're all getting paid. But yeah, man, it's just one of those things. Like, it's just one of those things. Like, it is what it is. That's what's going on with Diddy. And as far as for me, it did hurt, because, like I said, I'm a person that loves hip hop, and I'm a person that will continue to love hip hop as much as, even when they drop garbage, I'm still gonna probably listen to it, just to say that I listen to it. And I don't want to ever be that parent that's like, oh, why you listening to that garbage? I call it garbage because after I hear it, it sounds like garbage. You dig? But I give it a listen to. My nephews, they really love Little Baby, Travis Scott. They love all these cats, and I respect them. And like I said, someone like Key Glock, man, Key Glock is a person that keeps himself just strictly music. He stays away off from the BS. Lil Baby does that every once in a while. Travis Scott killed people at a concert, so it's kind of hard for him to do that. But there's other artists that really keep out of the spotlight. Shout out to Don Tripp. Shout out to Starlito, man. These are artists that if you listen to them, they're actually saying something. These are artists that when you listen to their music, it's not about the nonsense. It's about raising your family. It's about making money. It's about loving your family. Like I said, that's just from my point of view, man. Like, I just love what I do, and I want to continue to push it out there. I want to pause. I want to continue to make conversations. I want to continue to have conversations, and I want to continue to go forward and thrive, man. I think at this particular point, that's what we all should be doing, And when it's a one-man band, things don't move as fast as you want them to. But at the end of the day, man, as long as the train is moving, as long as them funds is coming in, man, all we could do is keep going. I really appreciate everybody out there.